What's up, guys and gals? Not on Sundays brewing. It's been one of those weeks. So happy Homebrew Wednesday. Gonna try and make this quick, but you know what that means. I'm gonna go get a beer, but in going to get that beer, I'm gonna show you what I finished up this last weekend. I'm pretty much finished up. Did some cleaning up in the shed, so I may actually just show you the grand tour of the giant shed. Yeah, it's not. Anyway, let me give you a quick tour and then I'll show you what I finished up this weekend. So here we are, walking outside to one of the reasons I bought my house. The shed. Lovingly called the shed. Whew, hold on. So here we are. Come in, that's where my kegerator used to sit. It's now moved inside. So this is where I spend a decent amount of my time. It's a little dirty right now, but oh well. So a lot of you may know we have plenty of entertainment out here. A little Nintendo 64, Super NES. New burner. This is where I keep all my commercial stuff. Some hops in this little freezer. Some yeast over here. So pretty much anything that I've got that's commercial I keep in here. It's not a ton, but I got some goodies back in here. Some that, yeah, that one right there. Let's see what else we got. That's a pretty good one too. This one's one of the best things to come out of Georgia in a long time. Haven't had that one yet, but I've been told some bourbon counties. Well, I think this is a 2013 Damon, I believe. Hill Farmstead. We got some yummy stuff in there. There's the Tired Hands. Got about a 4-year vertical of Happy Ending right now. Some Orpheus, Creature Comforts. Anyway, that's the commercial fridge. Next to that's my fermentation chamber. Right now we've got the 2 stouts going to town in here. In buckets as of now. Tell you about that fermentation here in just a minute. This is my jerry-rigged STC, but seems to work pretty well. Hasn't burned down the shed yet. Bunch of random boxes, a bunch of bottles that I grabbed from a local when we had that beer fest for my buddy Tiny. These were a bunch of the bottles that we opened, so I grabbed them and hoping to put some special beer in these larger format styles. Bunch of tubing, blah blah blah, kegel. Some of you probably don't know, I also am a big fan of some finer whiskeys and bourbons. Some of these are finer, some are not so much. Those 4 definitely are. An OSB, not on Sundays. Most of the rest of everything is just a bunch of equipment, but I love this shed where I get to put anything and everything in here brewing related. Love this wort chiller from Brewing. Bunch of doodads, beer gun, strainer, mash tun, mill. Bunch of rando stuff over here. Some awards. Containers, more containers, jars. Anyway. So that's this side of the shed. And then I just cleaned a good portion of this side. So this whole side used to be completely taken up with yard equipment and stuff. I kind of trimmed some of that down, got rid of some stuff, opened it up, still got the room for all the yard equipment. That's my wife's chest freezer that she has ownership of, and got a bunch of empty kegs, And then the freezer that I got the other day. So this is what I've been working on. And as I show you this, I'm going to get myself a beer. So this is where, this all used to be in my, oh gosh. I have to find something to keep that open for a second. This all used to be in my closet, my clothes closet upstairs. It was all tucked away in the corner. I think in here right now it's about 250 bottles, I think. And a lot of it's a lot of different styles. Also, a bunch of it's just stuff that I've kept a few of over time. So this goes about, I think it's like 6 rows deep. But yeah, so this is my new quote-unquote cellar. I've still got all my meads that are still upstairs. I think there's about 80 12-ounce bottles of mead. But I got some more room in here that I'm going to be bottling up some stuff real soon. So I need that extra room for everything else. Let's see what we got in here. We've got some sour meads, some Sizers, lambics, dry hop lambics, Belgian Brett Farmhouse, American barley wines, barrel aged doubles, current Brett beers. Let's see, what's this one? Cherry Ode Brewing, Creek, Framboise, bunch of Brett beers. Anyway, I'm gonna grab me a beer right here. This is a, I'll tell you about this one in just a second. So, that's the grand tour, guys. It's really not that big of a deal, but I love it. It's the brew shed, the NOSB shed. Welcome. Oh, forgot to say that this is a commercial freezer, so all I did is I went out and got one of these things that I've loved so far. It's an Inkbird. A bunch of us have been talking about it for a while. This thing is awesome. So really, right now, since I'm not worried about it getting too cold at night, I've just got the cold going to it. I bought a heat lamp for the winter when it's going to get cold. I've just got the probe taped on the inside and just keeping it at cellar temperatures. I've got it set around 53. It's been holding within 2 degrees of that. 2 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's been pretty darn tight. But I'm still monitoring temperatures up here to make sure there's not too much fluctuation. But yeah, loving this thing for free. Alright, I'll tell you a little bit about this beer I just grabbed. I've got a bunch of these in the fridge, and here in a second I'll tell you why. It is a quad. So this is a quad I make every year. I would do it once a year, only once a year. One, because it's a big one, and it's expensive. So I make this once a year. It's kind of my own recipe. I've been tweaking it every year to try to make it better and better. So it's a quad. It turned out comes out to be about 10.5% alcohol. I soak some spirals in whiskey, and so I soak that in a secondary for the quad. And then I always bottle this one too. Instead of bottling with sugar, I bottle with maple syrup. And so it's like a maple syrup bourbon aged quad. 2 years ago, it turned out unbelievably good. This year, I had some problems, which is why I've got a decent amount of it left. But this is what I'm going to be working on. So a couple of problems. The first and most prominent problem is it fermented too high of a temperature? I don't remember exactly what it got up to, but you can taste. So between probably the higher alcohol, just a lot of sugars, the really, really vigorous fermentation, and the temperatures got too high, I think. You can taste some fusel alcohols that aren't that pleasant. It's not terrible. It's still definitely worth drinking, but nowhere near my best work. Which is disappointing because this is the most expensive beer that I make with all that maple syrup. But anyway, but it still smells relatively good. You get a lot of caramel. You get some of the like the Trappist kind of yeast quality, some of the dark fruit Trappist kind of aromas. And actually, really, it smells fantastic. You just get a hint of maple, but it's when you jump in. And you can just tell the fermentation wasn't the healthiest. It wasn't a really healthy fermentation. I imagine maybe not enough oxygen, and then higher temperatures created some fusels. On top of it, it's a little overcarbonated. So the combination of the two kind of make for somewhat. I mean, it's not bad. I'm never gonna pour it out, but it's not my favorite just because of those couple problems. But this year's another year. We're gonna give it another shot later in the year. But cheers, y'all! Happy Homebrew Wednesday. Couple more things real fast. Still pretty decent. Alright, the only two things I got going on right now, I'm going to try to be bottling up 2 beers real soon, hopefully in the next week. That's the Whiskey Barrel Aged Quad that I did on my very first Homebrew Wednesday. And then my Goose, my blended lambic. So hopefully those will get bottled soon. And then the stout's going on in the fermentation chamber right now. Especially with that oxygen charge, the Imperial Stout took off like a friggin' rocket. And you know when you have a situation you know you should check on, but you don't really want to because you know it might be trouble and create a bunch of work. Well, that's what was going on. And I didn't check it for like a day and a half. Opened up the firm chamber and literally the top, so the airlock had clogged and the top to the bucket was probably bowed out about that high off the surface. It looked like the whole bucket was ready to explode. It was unbelievable. And so I quickly changed that out for a blue tube, blow-off tube, and saved it. I think I would have run into a lot of trouble if I would have waited another probably couple hours on not checking that thing. The milk stout with the Brett ferment and chugging right along looks good. I'm holding them both at about 66. So yeah, I'm excited about that. That's been almost a week now. So they'll be in there for a while. Guys, it's been a fun week. Love hanging out with you guys online, whether it just be through these videos. Feels like I have a whole kind of friend group out here that never fails to entertain. So you guys are awesome. Have a great night. In my next video, I'm hoping to do some shout outs and a couple more updates, but you guys have a great rest of your week. Cheers, and have fun out there. Bunch of guys, bunch of stuff going on. Oh, now that it's out, I feel bad and happy at the same time. I'm getting Nate down here. Hoping to meet up with Nate pretty darn soon. Hate it for Elder. Man, I was struggling watching your video, your 24-ounce Tuesday, brother, and I feel ya. So it's a bittersweet. I hate to see that that duo being broken up as far as living right next to each other, but hopefully a cool new chapter for Nate. And Elder too. We'll see what happens. I got a feeling. But cheers, guys. Y'all have a great rest of the week, and have some good beer tonight. Take it easy. Cheers.